Price is in the building.
Fetching it. And hang on a second. I should go live now, right?
Yep.
Do I wait for that though?
I think last time we didn't have to.
Okay, we're going live. And you're live, okay, Tanya, so we're on the pre-show.
Hey everybody, we're getting ready for Activate Live in about a minute. So we have a lot planned for today. We're going to tell you what our Director of Government Employees thinks about whether there may be another government shutdown or not. And we'll also talk about the anniversary of the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, the anniversary of FMLA, the Family Medical Leave Act, and Jim Price is walking in right now, so I'm going to have him sit right next to me before we go. And even Carol Rosenblatt is here from CLUW, the Coalition of Labor Union Women, and we'll also have Chris Wagoner. Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Running.
You were running. You don't have to run. Catch your breath. Scoot in a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're getting ready to go live. I think it's 3 o'clock.
It's very close.
Yeah, so we hope you guys comment. Please comment on all the topics that we talk about. Please like and share.
Activate your voice!
Activate it now.
Voice activation.
Live from Maryland, this is Activate Live.
Welcome to Activate Live. I'm Tanya Hutchins, coming to you from Machinist Union headquarters in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Now, this is an historic week for workers' rights. We'll take a look back to 1968 and 2009. We'll also examine pay discrimination and learn about our training center in Southern Maryland. Well, 3 weeks after the government shutdown is another one looming. Well, joining us to put things into perspective is IAM Director of Government Employees, Jim Price. So, Jim, that's the magic question. Is there another government shutdown looming?
Potentially there could be. Potentially there could be. I'm not so sure that basically either side has the stomach to do it again. However, I'm of a mind that basically we should always be prepared in case it does happen. A lot of people don't understand what happens in a shutdown of the government. All services are done. They're shut down. This time around, you still got people that had their Social Security checks would continue to be delivered and things of that nature. Passports would have continued to have been processed, but there were other essential services that would have went away. I can't say that they were things that would have impacted the public directly right away, but your shipyards, you would have had lots of people that would have been laid off without pay. Without pay.
And that affects people's lives.
Most of the people in the federal government are just like anybody else. We all live paycheck to paycheck. So those people would have been impacted immediately. And basically there was nothing there that said that basically they were going to pay them. As a matter of fact, if you watch the whole detailed, gory story on television on MSNBC or Fox or whatever you watch, you'd have probably saw that there were 2 representatives that got up and asked that they continue to pay government employees and continue to pay the military, and both of those things were opposed by the speaker. So it's a strange situation at this point. We don't know what's going to happen. I can tell you this, that the IAM is monitoring the situation. As I said before, we'll be putting things out to our members to let them know if in fact there's a problem, if there will be a shutdown, and we will continue to talk with our politicians, that our friends, and let them know that basically they shouldn't play politics with federal employees' paychecks.
Well, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to run down the hall and talk to us about the thousands of IAM members that this has affected.
About 120,000.
That's a lot.
Yes, it is.
People's lives,
Yep.
being able to pay their bills and survive.
Yep.
So thank you so much for joining us.
Not a problem.
Can you sit tight for just one moment? Because
Sure.
we're taking a look back in history, and I want to see if you remember something.
Okay.
Okay. So we're taking a look back in time today. Here's what's happened this week in 1968. On February 1st, 2 Memphis sanitation workers were crushed to death by their malfunctioning truck. Their names were Ethel Cole and Robert Walker. Well, 12 days later, 1,300 black men from the Memphis Public Works Department went on what now has become a famous strike, supported by AFSCME. The workers demanded their union be recognized, demanded decent wages and better safety standards. And there's a moment of silence taking place tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time at the Winpisinger Center in Southern Maryland. Now, Jim, You were a child when this happened. Do you remember hearing about this awful accident in Memphis?
I'm kind of a different individual. My parents used to send us to Meridian, Mississippi in the summer from 63 to 69. A lot of the stuff it was really fresh then for me because as a child growing up in St. Louis, it wasn't a northern city, it wasn't a southern city. But this particular instance, I do remember what happened. We were all in school that day when that happened. The teachers basically, you know, were keeping the kids abreast of what was going on. Current events. That's no different than when Dr. King was assassinated shortly after that. We were all in school, and we were told by the teachers what was going on. That situation was really, really bad, and it probably started to ramp up the movement, if you will. But as a 13-year-old, you know, you don't really grasp it. You hear about it, you know it happened, but you didn't grasp it until maybe you got to be about 33 or 43. But I do remember the news reports.
Well, the IAM is going to be heavily involved in the remembrance from now through the anniversary, April 4th, of when Dr. King was shot.
And I think we're going to have a group of folks from the IAM, the locals outside, and they're going to go down and they're going to participate in that particular memorial that's going to take place down there in Memphis, Tennessee. And anybody that can come down and participate would be great, because there's a museum down there in Memphis, the old Lorraine Hotel, that would probably shed a lot of light and give you a lot of feedback or input about the past. Because if we forget about the past, we'll sure as heck repeat it.
And we don't want to do that.
No, not at all.
Well, thank you so much, Jim.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Well, another anniversary this week. It is hard to believe it has been 8 years since the Lilly Ledbetter Act of 2009. Now, the first bill signed into law by then-President Barack Obama. The act amended the Civil Rights Act of 1964, stating that the 180-day statute of limitations for filing an equal pay lawsuit resets with each new paycheck affected by pay discrimination.
My name became the poster child for unequal pay for equal work. Most of us do not want to be the poster child, but after I had worked at Goodyear for 19 years, when I learned how much less I made than the white men doing the exact same job, just a different shift, and why it took me so long, I worked for a corporation that said, if you discuss your pay, you will not work here.
Now, that was Lilly Ledbetter speaking at a National Executive Board meeting of the Coalition of Labor Union Women, also known as CLUW. Well, joining us now is the Executive Director of CLUW, one of our constituency groups, Carol Rosenblatt. Thank you so much for being here, Carol.
Thank you so much for having me and for recognizing the whole issue of equal pay. And we were so pleased to have as our honoree a few years ago at our Working Women's Awards ceremony, Lilly Ledbetter.
That's right.
A true icon. Right?
She is wonderful, and she told her story, and it was just so touching. Can you believe we are still dealing with this?
No and yes, unfortunately. The whole question of equal pay was one of the very founding issues on which CLUW was founded, because women were so concerned about their salaries. And yet we're still dealing with it so many years later. And unfortunately, with this administration, they're not that friendly to the issue. Women still, on average, are only paid 80 cents per the dollar compared to the average white man. And yet there are so many women paid even less, Latinas 54 cents, which is really deplorable. And we're fighting, as we have year after year, to get federal legislation that will really advance the Equal Pay Act, which, while it's certainly important, doesn't really address some of the issues that women are facing, and that's the Paycheck Fairness Act. That's one of the federal pieces that we would really like to see passed.
Yes, we want equal pay for equal work. And there's all this secrecy around, wages, with employers saying, well, you can't talk about salary or you can't talk about raises. I mean, what does that do to a woman trying to negotiate her pay?
Well, that's the whole Lilly Ledbetter issue, that she kind of found out circuitously, and the Supreme Court did not support her, and the act ended up kind of correcting that, but not retroactively. So President Obama's administration did, in fact, pass through executive order between 2014 and 2016 some regulations that, in fact, prohibited federal contractors from causing disciplinary actions or terminating employees, which does happen, who ask about their pay. So that was a real advance. But we still do not have that in a uniform way throughout. And we're concerned that this administration is trying to undo some of the executive actions that were taken because some of the federal legislation did not pass.
If there are some women that are in a situation where they need help, where can they turn? Where can they get help?
Well, certainly we would urge them to contact CLUW. We're at www.cluw.org, and we'd be happy to talk to them about what their circumstances are and advise them as to where they can go to get relief. There are many organizations that are working on this with CLUW in terms of trying to assist women in this situation.
Well, thank you, but stay right here because we're going to
Okay.
switch subjects for 1 minute, because looking ahead to Monday, the Family Medical Leave Act, FMLA's 25th anniversary, is February 5th. And this is a labor law that requires employers to provide unpaid leave for certain medical or family reasons, like pregnancy, adoption, foster care placement. I think there are other reasons as well, Carol.
Right, and CLUW was really on the forefront in trying to get FMLA passed. I mean, this was considered revolutionary at the time, but what we've learned since then is that because it's unpaid and because it only really applies to certain categories of workers, that many times workers end up making a choice between taking off in order to address their needs of the family or getting compensated. And we realize at this point in time that we need to move forward, and there is legislation currently in process called, the acronym is the Family Act, and that would in fact provide paid leave in many categories, and so these choices would not have to be made. And women, are, one, frequently the caregivers, so they're frequently the ones in the family when a choice is made, because their salary is generally less, that they take off time in order to care for someone that's in need. And this impacts on their whole retirement.
Now, you mentioned the importance of paid leave. We actually have a graphic that we can put up, which is like a paid leave checklist. And I know you've seen this before.
Great.
What do you think? Because it can be affordable, right? It can be cost effective.
Well, and we know that, in terms of national surveys on this, that generally the public, regardless of their party, are supportive of this. Next step is to get those in Congress to realize that it's something that would really make work life more reasonable, fairer for everyone, and it's good for business.
And it could be substantial. It could be 12 weeks or more, I think. That's right. It could be 12 weeks is a pretty long time.
Right. So the need to really make this paid rather than unpaid is really critical. I mean, it makes all the difference in whether people can take advantage of it or not, and we're really hoping to move forward. Now, a number of states are already enacting their own form of paid leave, particularly in light of slow progress on the federal level. So we're active in that as well.
and tell us what is planned for Monday, because I understand there's like a tweet storm going on. And
There's all kinds of things, and we'll be rolling this out too in concert with all of our allies. There's a thunderclap, a tweet storm. We're trying to collect stories and photos of individuals who have experienced issues that they want to share, and we'll be urging people to contact their congressional representatives to make it clear as to what they think needs to be done.
Well, we really appreciate you stopping by. We
Thank
hope
you
to
so
have
much.
you back again. And for more information on CLUW, you said the website is
www.cluw.org, and we've been around since 1974, and we're going to continue to fight and push for issues that are important for working women and families.
That's right. And most of the people in this building, men and women, are members of CLUW. A lot of us, anyway.
Yes,
so
that's wonderful.
We're very proud members of CLUW. We're glad you're here. You can also get more information at supportpaidleave.org. That's supportpaidleave.org. Keep an eye on the CLUW Facebook page, CLUW Twitter feed. Keep an eye on the Machinist Union Twitter feed on Monday, and we can all help spread the word.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Now join the conversation, because we want you to let us know what you think about each topic that we're talking about. And you can do that on Facebook. You can do that on Twitter. While we're actually live, you can talk to us on YouTube. And I'm actually going to click on my computer right now so that I can see and I can join the conversation with you all. There we go. My computer's cooperating now. And Jamie Colburn is saying, hey. Brian Collis, as usual, says, woohoo. So we like it when you guys tune in. I know a lot of people are working right now, but even if you're watching the replay, you can come in here and contact and tell us, what you think about equal pay for equal work. Have you run into a situation where you weren't making the same as somebody next to you doing the same job? But one of the benefits, we're going to shift gears a little bit here now. One of the benefits of being a Machinist Union member is the ability to take classes at the William W. Winpisinger Education and Technology Center in Hollywood, Maryland, which is in southern Maryland. And that's where we study labor history and how unions affect economic and social justice. And joining me is the director of what we affectionately call W3. William W. Winpisinger, W3. Chris Wagoner, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Tanya. It's great to be here. I appreciate the opportunity.
No problem. Now, I know education is power. For me personally, I never want to stop learning. Tell us a little bit about what you do at the Winpisinger Center.
Sure. So we offer three basic types of programs. We offer programs for our rank and file activists, so members of local lodges who may be stewards, maybe officers, or maybe just members who are interested in learning more about the movement and how they can contribute. So we have a Leadership 1, 2, and Advanced program for rank and file activists. We also have programs that are more professionally development related. So for full-time staff who need to refine their skills, whether it's in bargaining, whether it's in organizing, negotiating pensions, a broad array of issues that reps are confronted with. And finally, we work with our departments here at headquarters to support the programming that they do. So like our women's and human rights programs, our government employees programs, and our EAP programs.
Now, you're pretty busy down in Hollywood. What is the schedule like? Because throughout the year, you're having classes most of the year.
Yeah, typically we operate about 46 weeks out of the year. We're typically down a couple weeks at the end of the year, generally around Thanksgiving and some of the major holidays. But other than that, we have multiple programs going at the Winpisinger Center. Most of the programs are structured such that people arrive on a Saturday. Most programs start on Sunday, and we generally conclude sometime Friday morning.
Okay. And a lot of times we see all of the students up here getting a tour of headquarters.
Absolutely. For our leadership folks, certainly in Leadership 1, it's sort of a culmination of the week to have the opportunity to visit headquarters, to see the resources that are available here, to be able to interact with directors and members of the IAM Executive Council, to learn about their organization and how they can contribute. And it's interesting just the reflections you hear about that visit. Oftentimes they're blown away by the resources that are available to them in the field.
Now, speaking of the field, you've kind of taken the show on the road a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we've been working to do, based on an initiative from our international president, is to move resources to the field. There is a real recognition that not every member will have the opportunity to attend programs at the Winpisinger Center. And so one of the areas where we've started that work is our negotiation prep program. So to help committees get ready for negotiations, it's a little bit different than any other kind of programming that we do, because it's really focused about preparation and getting ready to position a committee to deliver to the membership the very best possible agreement that they can.
And that must help so much to actually go through, I guess you would call it like role playing.
So we do. We utilize role plays, we utilize fishbowl, we use simulations when we do the negotiation prep, but it's also about the planning that's necessary to be effective, to think through and to understand really what are the needs of the membership and how can those needs be best met by the work of the negotiating committee. So the membership understands that in fact the committees are fighting for them. And so we work with committees wherever they are. We have some committees that are fairly experienced, and other committees that are composed of members who may be new to the process. So again, it's a custom one-off program, but it's been really exciting to have the opportunity to do that in the field. We did it about 5 times last year, and it looks like we're going to be doing it perhaps at least that many times this year, if not twice that number. So
that's great.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
And we've been looking at some of the photos of the students that are in Hollywood, Maryland. Remind us, for people who may just be joining, who's eligible to take these classes?
So for the leadership programs, it's really any member in good standing. Every local in the IAM has the right to send folks to the Winpisinger Center.
Can I stop you for 1 second?
Sure.
Is this?
So this is from our safety and health program. So that's one of the departmental programs that we work with. People here are dressed out in level A suits, going through a simulation, what they call an evolution. And they're, I believe, in the process here of doing what they call decon. So they've completed cleaning up a simulated site, and they're now in the process of doffing their equipment, but they have to clean themselves before they can do that, so no contaminants or come to them or taken into the community.
So I had to have you explain that picture.
Sure,
I mean, that's pretty hands-on.
Yeah, we're very much believers in hands-on education. We believe a lot of learning occurs by bringing people together. You know, our movement is fundamentally a social one and a collective one, and what we're able to do together. And so we think that learning is ideally situated in an environment where you bring people together, the capacity to both learn from each other, but also to experience the capacity to work together. That's a learned thing, and our power comes from our capacity to work together. And that's not something we do individually, it's something we do together. And so to be a part of that is really exciting.
I like that fact, because there are a lot of people that only do online courses or they only go to a school physically. I personally like being in a classroom myself, but there is a way to merge both. But I see what you say. You know, when you have people around you and you're working together, it makes a difference.
Yeah, so our goal is that when people come to the Winpisinger Center, not only do they develop the skills that they need to effectively represent members and to effectively grow the organization, but they also experience what it's like to be in a union, what it really means to be a sister and brother. And that can only be done if we're together. And sometimes it means we have to work our way through issues. Sometimes there's disagreements, and those are good and healthy things. But if we're going to be a functioning and effective local lodge or negotiating committee or e-board, we have to have a process where we can work together. And it's exciting to be a part of that, to see groups come together, to see individuals learn and develop the skills they need to really effectively represent the membership and to grow our organization.
Now, we have so many options. Now we offer free college. We have a great partnership with Empire State College. Tell us a little bit about those options.
Sure. So for a lot of our members, they've never had the opportunity over their life course to be able to complete either an undergraduate degree, maybe an associate's degree, a baccalaureate degree, or a master's degree. And probably about 15 years ago, that need was recognized, and some of my predecessors put together a program that allowed for classes at the Winpisinger Center to be accredited, and then for people to leverage those classes so they could get, again, an associate's degree or a baccalaureate degree. So we have a partnership with Empire State College. Most all of our classes have college credits associated with them, anywhere from 2 to 4 hours of college credit, and they can utilize those, again, for the pursuit of a degree. And now with the offerings of the free college program, it's a remarkable staircase. So those people can begin the process if they don't have any college credits, get their associate's degree, and then have a platform to build upon to be able to earn their baccalaureate degree. And we're going to have our first group graduate this year with their master's degree from Empire State College. So it's a wonderful opportunity for our members. And as I think about other labor organizations, as far as I'm aware, being able to do both an associate, baccalaureate, and master's degree within their home union is really a remarkable thing.
It's a great opportunity,
Yeah.
one of the great union benefits we have.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Anything else you'd like to mention that we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, so, a couple of things. I think there's a real commitment in the IAM to education and education broadly. And so that education is not made available to simply a select few, but a broad-based education. And as we think about the changing demographics that are occurring in our country, there was a recognition about 10 years ago that we need to offer programs in Spanish. So now we have a full complement of leadership programs, so Leadership 1, 2, and Advanced, as well as the Train the Trainer in Spanish. We've begun to develop programs that focus on some of the staff-required skills, so in collective bargaining and in organizing. And we also offer programs in French.
That's right. So you have 3 languages.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. And there's times where we'll have both French speakers and English speakers and Spanish speakers at the harbor together. We're deeply about this organization and really want to make sure that our members have the skills that they need and that we're growing. One of the changes that has occurred this year is the rollout of a new organizing program. I believe earlier you had on the new organizing director.
Yes.
And there's an educational component associated with that as well. And again, we think it's really important that our membership understand the importance of growth because it's connected to strength and leverage and our ability to do better for our entire union and for all working people.
And that goes right along with our top priority of organizing.
Absolutely.
One more comment. Fabian Lando says, I have yet to meet a first-time member that goes to Leadership 1 and doesn't walk away inspired. You and your team do great work.
Well, it's very kind.
So just had to pass along there that you're getting very good reviews.
well, again, it's a team effort.
Wow.
The group makes it happen. So.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Keep up the good work. We hope you come back.
Absolutely, I will.
Great.
Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Well, with newsfeed changes on Facebook, we would like to show you how to see our posts in your feed. And if you're on the Machinist Unions page, you can hover, I can't talk today, you can hover over the icon that says following in the middle of the page there under the picture, and then check the box that says see first. And that way, you have a better chance of seeing what we post, including live videos like the one that you're watching now. Now, if you're watching on Twitter, Periscope, or YouTube, we love you too. So keep watching. So join the conversation. And anytime on any topic, you can continue the conversation among each other by commenting on this video to let us know what you think about the William W. Winpisinger Education and Technology Center, the prospect of another government shutdown, which we hope doesn't happen, worker safety, and equal pay for equal work. So tell us what you really think, okay? And don't forget that the moment of silence is tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, remembering Ethel Cole and Robert Walker, the 2 sanitation workers who were killed in Memphis, Tennessee in 1968. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next Activate Live.